Welcome mga ka-online class!
Welcome back to my channel. So today is a very special day. We are actually celebrating the National Heroes Day. So ngayon, I will not be the one to teach you. I have invited a hero. And I guess you know him already because the keyword is 3000. So I hope you know him. The hero is none other than dun, 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 Iron Man. Mm, wow, magic. Okay, so I am Iron Man, and I'm the one who will teach you a lesson today. So, a lesson for today is about work, energy, and power. Last lesson, we discussed about Newton's law of motions. Right? The first is the law of inertia, and second is the law of acceleration. And lastly, we have the law of interaction. Okay, so what comes to your mind when you hear the word work? The word work has many meanings. When people ask, what is your work? They refer to a job or employment. When people say, I'll meet you after work, they refer to the part of a day devoted to a career or undertaking. When your teachers ask, have you done your homework? They refer to the task or the activity needed to be accomplished. In physics, work is an abstract idea related to energy. When work is done, it is accompanied by a change in energy. When work is done by an object, it loses energy, and when work is done on an object, it gains energy. Kumbaga, work is equal to energy. In previous lessons, you utilized Newton's law to analyze the motions of objects. You investigated the motion of an object in relation to force, mass, and acceleration. In this lesson, motion will be investigated from the perspective of work and energy. The concept of force, which you have taken up in the previous lesson, will be related to the concepts of work and energy. Let's explore! In this activity, we will be using a ball and 3 empty plastic bottles. First thing to do is to set the ball and the plastic bottles just like this. Next, we release the ball to hit the plastic bottles with minimal force. And next, we do it again using stronger force. Is there work done on the ball? Yes, there is work done on the ball. What can a moving ball do? A moving ball can topple down the 3 empty plastic bottles. Nung gumamit tayo ng mahinang pwersa, ang mga bote ay tumilapon lang sa malapit. Ngunit, nung gumamit tayo ng malakas na pwersa, ang mga bote ay tumilapon din sa malayo. The greater force we use, the farther the bottles moved. Work. Work, 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 work. Work, 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 work. In previous lessons, you learned that force could change the state of motion of an object. If an object is at rest, it can be moved by exerting force on it. If an object is moving, it can be made to move faster or stop by applying force on it. In order to say that work is done on an object, there must be force applied to it, and the object moves in the direction of the applied force. So work is done if the object you push moves a distance in the direction towards you are pushing it, just like this woman. You can see, wait, you can see the woman is pushing the chair forward. So the direction is forward. And the chair is also moving forward. So there is work done because the object that she is pushing moves to the direction the same as her force. Okay? And it's shown that it is displaced in this place. Okay. Now, no work is done if the force you exert does not make the object move. Example, this man. You can see he is pushing the wall. Okay? Even though he used a lot of force in it, since the wall did not move, there is no work done there. No motion to the object, no work. No displacement, the object was not displaced, no work. No work is also done if the force you exert does not make the object move in the same direction as the force you exerted. Example, you are moving forward just like this waiter. Okay, I get it now. Just like this waiter. The waiter is carrying the plate with glasses. Okay. The force used is upward in carrying the plate with glasses. But he is moving forward. So there is no work done there because the force is going up, but his direction is going forward. But in relation, okay, to the waiter carrying the plate, okay, his direction is upward, okay, the force is upward, and the displacement of the plate is also upward, so there is work there. But if we say that the person is walking while carrying, there's no work there. But when we say that the person is carrying the plate upward, that's the time that there is work being done. Again, there's no work being done. The person is walking while carrying the plate, but there is work done when the person is carrying the plate. No, it's not about um the movement from one place to another of a person, but rather the displacement of the object where we applied the force. Just like this. Calculating work. Work is done when force applied to the object causes the object to have a displacement in the same direction as the applied force. The symbol of work is capital W. The work done by a force can be calculated as this equation. Work is equal to force multiplied by displacement. Now, as you can see, the F there is force and the small letter D is displacement. The unit of work is Joule. The unit Joule is named after the English physicist James Prescott Joule. This is also a unit of energy. As I said again, work is equal to energy. So 1 joule is equal to the work done or energy expended in applying a force of 1 newton through a distance of 1 meter. So here's a sample problem for solving work. How much work is done by a shopper in pushing her grocery cart by a force of 32 newton through a distance of 4.5 meters? Okay, so what is being asked? What is being asked is work. What are the given? We have force, which is 32 newtons, and we have a distance, a displacement of 4.5 meters. So we substitute it to the equation W, work is equal to force times displacement, where force is 32 newton and displacement is 4.5 meters. So 32 times 4.5, we get 144. Then, don't forget, the unit of work is joule. So the work done by the shopper in pushing her grocery cart is 144 joule. Okay, you understand now the work? In grade 7, you learned that there are different ways by which energy can be transferred from one place to another. Sound and light are transferred by waves. Electrical energy is transferred by moving electrical charges through a complete circuit. And heat is transferred either by randomly moving particles or by electromagnetic waves. Work is also a means of transferring energy from one object to another. In the Let's Explore activity, you have done work on the ball. The force you exerted in pushing the ball is in the same direction as the motion of the ball. But then, you did not continuously push the ball until it hits the empty bottles. You just gave it a nudge, and then it rolled. The force exerted on the ball changed the ball's motion. Something was transferred to the ball, causing it to move continuously. That something is called energy. The energy became energy of motion of the ball. A rolling ball can do work on the plastic bottles. When the ball hit the plastic bottles, it can push them through a distance. Thus, a moving object can do work on anything it hits because of its motion energy. Hence, energy is oftentimes defined as the ability or capacity to do work. Since work is done on the ball, it gains energy, while the person that does work on it loses energy. In the same manner, the rolling ball that does work on the empty plastic bottle loses energy, while the bottles gain energy. This shows that when work is done, energy is transferred. You see? The energy is transferred and transferred and transferred from the person to the ball to the empty plastic bottles. Energy. Energy. Ah. So there are two kinds of energy. We have the kinetic energy and the potential energy. The energy of moving object is called energy of motion or kinetic energy. The word kinetic comes from the Greek word kinetikos, which means moving. Kinetic energy quantifies the amount of work the object can do because of its motion. The plastic or rubber ball you pushed to hit the empty plastic bottles earlier has kinetic energy. The force applied caused the ball to accelerate from rest to a certain velocity. The equation of kinetic energy is Ke is equal 1/2 of the product of mass and velocity squared. From the equation, you can see that kinetic energy of an object depends on its mass and velocity, meaning the larger the object is, the greater its kinetic energy, and the faster the object is, the greater the kinetic energy. That's why between a car and an airplane, the airplane has a lot of kinetic energy than a car because the airplane is bigger and faster than the car. Meanwhile, the car is not that heavy compared to the airplane, and it's not that fast compared to the airplane. The unit for kinetic energy is also joules because, again, work is equal to energy. Sample problem for solving kinetic energy. What is the kinetic energy of the cheetah running at a velocity of 31.4 meters per second when its mass is 50 kilograms? So what is being asked? The kinetic energy. What is being given? The mass of the cheetah, which is 50 kilograms, and its velocity, which is 31.4 meters per second. We substitute it to the equation. Following the MDAS, we first square the velocity. So 31.4 meters per second, we squared it, it becomes 985.96 meters squared over second squared. And then, after that, we multiply it to the 50 kilograms. It becomes 49,298 kilograms meters squared over second squared. And finally, we multiply it to 1/2. So it becomes 24,649 kilograms meter squared over second squared. But kilogram meter squared over second squared is joules. So KE, kinetic energy, is 24,649 joules. Then we go to potential energy. There are two kinds of potential energy. The gravitational potential energy, which is due to position, and the elastic potential energy, which is due to the configuration. Gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy is the energy possessed by a body due to its position. A raised body has a gravitational potential energy. In letting the body fall back to its original level, it can do work. Gravitational potential energy is given by the formula P is equal to mgh, where m is mass, g is gravity, and h is height. Note that the reference point for zero gravitational potential energy is the ground, since height is zero. So when you multiply mgh and the h is zero, it's automatically zero. So here's a sample problem for solving gravitational potential energy. A 75-kilogram man climbs a 3-meter high wall. What is the potential energy of the man with respect to the ground? So what is being asked is the gravitational potential energy. And what is being given? The mass of the man, 75 kilograms, gravity, which is 9.8 meters per second squared, and height, which is 3 meters. So we substitute the given to the equation. We just multiply all of them, 75 times 9.8 times 3, we get 2,205 joules. Elastic potential energy. Elastic potential energy is the energy possessed by a spring or rubber band. When it is stretched or compressed, it takes force to stretch a spring or rubber band because the molecules of the spring or the rubber band is trying to oppose being pulled. Upon stretching, the molecules move apart and gain elastic potential energy. Elastic potential energy is given by PE is equal to 1 half kx squared, where x is the elongation of the spring and k is the force constant. The force constant of a spring is the force needed to produce a unit elongation of the spring. It has the unit of N over M or joules. Force constant is a measure of the stiffness of the spring. Bigger force constant means the spring is not easily elongated or compressed. Sample problem for solving elastic potential energy. A coiled spring in a waste streaming exerciser has a force constant of 270 Newton per meter and is compressed by 0.5 meter. Find the elastic potential energy. So what is being asked is elastic potential energy, and what is given is the K, which is 270 Newton per meter, and the X, which is 0.5 meters. Substitute it to the equation. We first square the 0.5, becomes 0.25, and then multiply it to 270 Newton per meter. We get 67.5 Newton per meter squared. Then we finally multiply it to 1 half. We finally get potential energy is 33.75 joules. Power. Power! Power! Time was not considered in the previous discussion on work and energy, but you are aware in the practical sense of the importance of time in the performance of work. To express how fast work is done, the concept of power is used. Power, which is P, is the rate of doing work. In equation form, P is equal to work over time. Since work is FD, so we have P is equal to FD over T, which is time. The unit of power is watt, named after James Watt, who improved the steam engine. 1 watt is equal to 1 joule over 1 second. Another unit of power is the horsepower. In our aircons, we have horsepower. In the cars, we have horsepower. Because motors and engines are rated in horsepower. 1 horsepower is equal to 746 watts. Sample problem for solving power. A machine is doing 3,307 joule of work in 50 seconds. Find how much power the machine has. So what is being asked? Power. What is being given is the amount of work, which is 3,307 joules, and time, which is 50 seconds. So substitute it to the equation. 3,307 joule divided by 50 seconds, we get 66.14, and the unit of power is watt. So power is 66.14 watts. These are the concepts that you need to remember about work and energy. Work is done on an object when the force applied to it covers a distance in the direction of the applied force. Work is a way of transferring energy. When work is done by an object, it loses energy. And when work is done on an object, it gains energy. The energy of an object enables it to do work. A moving object has energy called energy of motion or kinetic energy. An object above a specific level has energy due to its position called potential energy. An elastic object that is stretched or compressed or twisted has energy called potential energy. And power is the rate of doing work or the rate of using energy. And that concludes our lesson for today. Always remember, Iron Man is, I am inevitable.
Hi guys, thank you for watching and listening to Iron Man and his teachings. I'd just like to have a shout out to Chris Ann Alvarez and Ann Kimper. They are both vloggers. They have YouTube channels, so you guys please subscribe to their channels. And again, once again, spread the love. Vlogger na si Sir.